Personal brand versus estate agency brand. Talk to me, James.
Chris, why can't we blend the two?
Well, okay, the vast majority of estate agents are estate agency brand.
Yeah.
You know, you ask Hart out, you ask Connells out, you ask so-and-so out.
Yeah.
There is a certain self-employed models which are very all about personal brand.
Yeah.
What I can mention is EXP is one particular where it's all about the personal brand. EXP is almost irrelevant as a brand. Are you saying somewhere in the middle?
I think the middle is the sweet spot. For the lion's share of agents, the middle is the sweet spot.
So just because we didn't introduce you at the start, you're James Humphries-Stone and you run the Avenue self-employed estate agency model.
Indeed.
You advocate both brand, personal brand and estate agency brand?
Blend of the two, absolutely.
Okay, what does that look like and what can people watching this learn from that?
So from the estate agency brand perspective, we've got a consistent colour brand scheme. Our social media channels are consistent. So our boards have a consistent structure. But then when you blend the personal with what we've created, each individual partner agent is on the board. Each individual partner agent has their own telephone number direct.
What, picture of them as well?
Picture of them on the board.
Yeah, like that.
Each individual partner agent has their own social media channels that they run. It's not run for them. They run those channels. We support, educate and train them on how to get the most out of them. They are the ones out in their local community. But the beauty of it is when we launch partner agents in adjoining areas, is that people have already seen the brand.
Yes.
And so the blend is then that there's an opportunity to feed off of your neighbouring partners because people have recognised and attached to the brand, but you're also building it personal.
Can't say much more than that, mate. I totally agree with you. Get involved. Didn't you recently, though, post something about how corporates could do this?
I did.
What sort of response did you get?
It was.
He said knowingly.
It was probably the response I expected. So the post was, I believe that corporate estate agents, even large-scale independents, anybody, to be honest, that's in traditional world, could slow down the growth of the self-employed model by adapting and creating a personal brand for each of their agents within their offices in their local community. Okay. And essentially...
They won't do that.
Well, no, that's my view. I don't believe they could, but they could do it.
Well,
the problem they face is further down the line, because if you start to build your agent's brand in their community and then the individual starts to bring business into your business rather than your marketing or your direct mail or whatever it is, they will then expect to be paid like a self-employed estate agent. And unless then the corporates and the traditional model are going to start to overturn how they compensate people, which I just don't believe is going to happen.
I think it's actually, I don't disagree with any of that. I'm just going to say, and they are losing control.
And there's the lack of control, yeah.
And by losing that control, they don't become as relevant.
Absolutely.
I think there genuinely is an opportunity for a small regional player, you know, Foxtons or Kinleys in London or Chancellors or Andrews in that M4 corridor, and there are other chains around there with 30, 40, 50 branches to have a go. I mean, Hart had a go, didn't they?
Yeah.
But like most things, they played at it and then kind of brought it back in again.
It looked like a toe dip. It didn't look like a let's go after it approach.
What would your message be to any a big wig of a 30, 40 branch network? Because they, or a 10 branch network even. Go on.
I think to some degree, more of the same. Because if they change, then I do genuinely believe they could slow down the growth of a business like mine.
But really, hold on a second, self-employed estate agency only is 2.3, 2.4% of the market.
And growing.
True.
And it's a different topic, I suppose, in many ways, but I do think the sustainability of the self-employed model is much more likely than the online model, because the online model is proving it's a loss-making model, hence the merger of Strike and Purplebricks, and it relies on huge amounts of volume, whereas the self-employed model is borderline bulletproof, because even in a quieter, lower-level market, it can still survive financially because of the volume.
I mean, the biggest self-employed estate agency model, they're only putting on 2.5 properties a month. But if you're getting
per agent.
per agent,
Yeah.
but then if you are selling most of those, you're probably earning £5, £6, £7, £8,000, which is not a bad figure, is it?
No.
You've got to sell them though, haven't you?
Economies of scale, of course, and you've got to sell them, but it's much more sustainable.
Interesting. Thank you for your insight today, James.
Pleasure.